What's up, guys? I'm RavageDragon, and welcome to Ravage Reacts. Alright, we're here with Antscanada. This is Antscanada's 7th episode. Right? This is their 7th episode. For me, it's the 4th episode. So I hope you guys are ready to watch some Antscanada Vivarium series. And I know you're peeping my shirt. Like the shirt, this is a shirt that I've wanted to do since I started Ravage and my channel in general. I wanted to have my logo with the forest in the background. It looked cool. It's in my fourth wall. I have a fourth wall. You guys can buy the t-shirt there. What I'm going to suggest is that this material is similar to, how you call it, muscle shirts. So it's a size smaller than what it says. So let's say if you get a medium, and you're used to wearing large, no, if you're used to wearing medium, get a large. If you're used to a large, get an X large. If you're used to an X large, get a double XL. If you want some room, because this is it's that type of material where it's like a muscle shirt in a way. But yeah, besides that, I'm gonna put the fourth wall link in the description. So with that, I hope you guys are ready, and I hope you guys ravage that like button, ravage that subscribe button, and hit that notification bell. That way you know when the next episode arises. And with that, I hope you do it for Antscanada too. Antscanada built this beautiful looking vivarium. So I hope you guys are ready, because we're gonna get to the video. Alright, here we go with the episode. Let's get to it.
This is Pandora, my 1,000-gallon cloud rainforest vivarium.
Let's go.
It took a week to build, months of pre-planning, and a lifetime to dream about. And my, what a biological dream it is. I created it to study what life is like for ants and other animals out in the wild, to uncover their roles within an ecosystem. And so far, it's been an insane ride of discovery that has only just begun. Last week marked the dawn of an event called Gaia, the Great Animal Integration Advent.
So he's gonna let you know what happened in the last episode, but I'm gonna catch you up real quick too. In the last episode, my last reaction to Antscanada was that he started putting in the creatures, the insects, level by level, so it can integrate properly. Sometimes you can't just dump all of them at once, because if you do that, then they start eating each other, and then there was no point. You know, you gotta get them integrated, get them used to the area first, and then you put the next group, and then the next group. If they don't eat each other, you could put them together, but it's good to do it one at a time, so that way they get used to the area and they can hide and do all the stuff that they need to do, especially foliating with the stuff. So yeah, this is what happened in the last episode. He was putting the insects in little by little. I think he's gonna put in the apex predators today,
where I added an initial team of animals and creatures into Pandora, who proceeded to settle into the forest, breed, and occupy their respective niches. But that team of creatures was only the first batch of colonizers.
Yes.
There was still a major player missing from this ecosystem. An apex predator, a carnivorous animal, at the very top of the food chain, whom no other creature in the ecosystem eats. And the time had finally come to add that apex predator to patrol Pandora and do its important work at controlling populations of prey animals within. I approached Pandora with my chosen apex predator and proceeded to release it into the vivarium. But nothing could have prepared me for the insane chain of events that would follow the release of this apex beast into our rainforest. Welcome to the craziest story of what happened when I released an apex predator into my giant rainforest vivarium. Part 7 of my Ecosystem Vivarium series, here on the Antscanada Ant Channel. Please subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon.
Subscribe to his channel, hit the bell icon. Also do that for me here on YouTube. I hope you guys like my channel. I've been almost 10 years on this platform doing anything. This is Ravage Land's production. It's a reason why I do a variety of things, gameplay, reactions, and all that, so you guys can be entertained regardless of what I do. Yeah. Also on Rumble, give me a follow. You know, you guys on Rumble, give me a follow. Come on, I'm gonna give y'all some cool stuff to watch. All right, let's get to it.
Welcome to the AC family. Enjoy. My heart was racing as I laid its container down onto the soil. Come out, my beloved beast. Welcome to your new home. The beast remained in its shadowy container, unwilling to come out.
I know what this is.
Hello? It's okay. You can come out. He'll be out anytime, guys.
He'll be out anytime, guys.
Okay. Maybe not. Our beast was a bit shy, refusing to step out into the light. I could kind of see him moving around and checking out the new environment and smells, but still no desire to emerge. These were actually great working instincts.
What are you
After
talking
a good
about?
20 minutes of waiting, I decided to gently tip his container a bit,
what the
and
hell?
he slid out, then instantly jetted away under some driftwood before I could catch sight of him. Darn,
You're not catching
I was
me
really
today.
hoping for a much more clear view of him entering his new kingdom. But no worries, I knew we would catch him out in the open soon, and I know you guys will totally love him. I bet.
Could you just imagine the poor animal? He's like, what in the hell is going on? What is going on here? And then he started shaking everyone out. Yeah! What the hell? Ah! Not today! Thinking like an animal is trying to eat him or something. Oh, poor creature.
He was probably enjoying the abundance of prey insects and roaches in those shadows. Roaches happened to be his favorite food.
Ah, okay. Ooh, arachnophobes, look
Two
away.
young roach nymphs lay struggling on their backs, trying to right themselves up, having fallen into a strange place. And their movements awoke a sleeping monster nearby. And using teamwork,
spider.
they flipped themselves over, using each other's bodies. One roach scurried to hide, while the other decided to wander their new location. What a strange place, the roach thought. I wonder what great things we can find here. The roach particularly loved the moist floor and began to lick up the wetness to hydrate. For a while, the roach continued to waddle around to drink and explore. Should I go this way? No. Doesn't smell right. The roach eventually joined its sibling within the shadows of some moistened paper towel. Hey bro, isn't this place weird? Yeah, super weird. Lady Deathstrike, my female huntsman giant, waited patiently in the shadows.
I see
Patience
you.
was her talent, and she had waited almost 2 weeks to feed. Another few moments would be a total breeze. But little did she know, she was going to be a very important player in an incredible world she would soon be living in. Now, where is our predator? I searched Pandora's rainforest floor. He could literally be anywhere, but I trusted he would emerge on his own terms. I was right. But meanwhile, I took notice that the marauder ants that used to dominate these lands were now nowhere to be seen. They used to be seen trailing the wood of the Hallelujah tree
That's
stump,
the last time.
but now, nothing. All their regular foraging trails had been deserted. Interesting.
What
Well,
ant was that?
I figured it was nothing to worry about, seeing as over the past week, the marauder ants had consumed a cricket, a grasshopper, and even an entire house gecko, as seen in the last episode. They were probably satiated and resting inside the tree stump, but I told myself I'd stay vigilant because the colony of invasive black crazy ants had also recently moved into the tree stump, and who knows what could be happening within the shared stump that I couldn't see. But other than that, I had noticed that Pandora was a wonderful biological world now of
Yay.
thriving life in all corners of the rainforest.
Let's go!
A movement in the leaves caught my eye. What is that tiny thing? As soon as I saw the protruding Searchy, I shouted in delight. It was a newly hatched baby cricket. Awesome!
Yay.
The baby crickets were now emerging from the egg bed I planted during Gaia. And how cute they were! They were tiny versions of their parents, whom by now were all dead from either being eaten, drowned in Pandora's pond, more about that later, or old age. They were seen wandering all areas of Pandora now,
Insects
including
grow
the mosses.
older faster than
This
us.
baby took a nibble from the moss, which totally reminded me of their parents, who also loved to munch on moss. But it was imperative that these baby crickets learn about the world as quickly as they could, because Pandora was more than just a place of cool leaves and mosses. I noticed another baby cricket lying on its back, having just been freshly killed. Poor little one. This baby cricket nearby lay frozen in its spot as a black crazy ant went zipping by, carrying the newly killed baby cricket it had sprayed with formic acid. These lands, though abundant, were also dangerous for the crickets, a lesson they would need to learn quickly.
Yep.
Speaking of babies though, here was the baby grasshopper we've been following for 2 weeks now. He's a lot bigger and growing quite fast.
I don't understand why those grasshoppers' faces are long. Look like little sticks. I see you. Like stuck up rich people with their nose in the air. Grasshoppers, I like whenever I see grasshoppers, I never realized they look like locusts or locusts. There you go, locusts. I said lotus. Lotus is a plant. Locusts are the insects that eat all the crops and everything. That they have like locust storms, like in the Midwest, I think.
It seems he has learned the necessary life skills to thrive and survive Pandora's rules of survival. Some creatures that definitely weren't afraid of predation, going about their business out in the open, included this young millipede, who actually possessed hydrochloric acid and hydrogen cyanide, this baby snail mimicking a tiny pebble against the glass, and these pretty creatures, the metallic emerald cockroaches,
They look
whom
like
I always saw
beetles.
frequenting the vines around Pandora. They loved chewing on the vine skin. I couldn't get over how beautiful these roaches were, as they mimicked inedible beetles, giving them the confidence to be so out there. This is a classic example of Batesian mimicry, where one organism imitates the appearance of another to avoid predation. No predator would bother swallowing a hard-to-eat and likely foul-tasting beetle.
Yep.
The roaches have the last laugh. These ones anyway.
These ones.
The two baby roaches
Huntsman
crouched
holding
quietly
tank.
behind the wet paper towel. Lady Deathstrike began to wonder if her senses were accurate. She could have sworn there was food crawling around. Hang on. Bang! She knew it.
Wow.
She began to feast. The roach should have remained with its sibling at the paper towel. But it was too late now. The roach's fate had been sealed. She nonchalantly began to inject her lethal cocktail of cytotoxins, which help break down the roach's tissues, and neurotoxins, which attack the roach's nervous system. Fortunately, her bite isn't harmful to humans, but for this roach, it is being paralyzed and broken down from the inside out. Another average spider meal. Oh wait.
That's something that I always feel that people need to understand, is that not every animal that has venom or poison is lethal to humans. You hear it and you automatically assume that's gonna kill me. Not always. Huntsman spiders toxins are nowhere near lethal to hurt a human. But people still have arachnophobia, which is, I understand. It's like I have a thing about needles. So yeah, I get it.
Times two. Both roaches now in her grasp. It too had decided to wander away from the paper towel. She had bitten it, but it slipped onto the floor, and with her long dexterous arms, she played soccer with it for a bit before picking it back up to relish. Two delicious roaches in a lethal embrace. The newly caught roach tried its best to slip away, but you can't slip away from Lady Deathstrike. She was hungry. Watching spiders eat always inspired a huge degree of respect, mixed in with a dash of fright. Predators, as fun as it is to watch them feed, are no playground. But other than nourishing her, there was an important purpose to providing her this double roach meal. As she began to wrap her food in silk, another huntsman, a male, had secretly been placed into her holding container as well. This was Kiro, and he had been sent to this place to fulfill his ultimate life purpose. The next move would now be his, and the setup was perfectly executed. Lady Deathstrike was now busy with her mind set on feeding on her delicious roaches.
And with animals begins the circle of life. Because it's the circle
So I knew our new
of life.
apex predator would eventually come out, and I knew exactly where.
Okay.
Right at the Hallelujah tree stump. And the reason was because just above the stump,
I would like to appreciate the setup that he has for that vivarium. Like, they have the tree stump in the middle, you have the water on the side. Like, he landscaped that thing very, very well.
were the UV and heat lamps, which our predator needed to warm up and soak up the necessary light wavelengths. And after just a few hours of him settling in to Pandora, I could see evidence of his presence. Look! Poop! And a big piece of it too. And what I found amazing was the living creatures it attracted. Mites, springtails, microscopic beetles, flies, and other creatures were having a total feast on these feces. It's amazing how one creature's waste can be other creatures' buffet. The creatures will help break down this poop and create excellent fertilizer for all the plants growing around the rainforest.
Thus the circle of life. That's one of the reasons why you need the right insects and stuff in areas. That way, like, if an animal dies of natural causes, it will break it down and it will become fertilizer for the grass and the soil and whatnot. That's why it sucks when you see a dead animal in the city and it can't be broken down or anything. It just rots. If it's in the jungle, that's why you never really see carcasses in the jungle like that. Only if they're fresh. Besides that, once you get there, it's either picked clean and the bones are still around, or they're gone. You don't see them at all. So that's why it's interesting to learn about this stuff when it comes to insects and whatnot. Yeah, they're creepy looking, and I understand that people be afraid of them, but learn how to get used to watching it on TV. That way you don't be too afraid of them. Because a lot of people have I forgot what phobia it is. Like, once you see something crawling, you start feeling it crawling all over you. It's weird. But I understand that people have that, and it sucks that you have to suffer from that.
I couldn't believe the biodiversity Pandora had in terms of soil creatures for this biological niche. We definitely had a healthy soil ecosystem in Pandora. To further build on the health of Pandora's ecosystem,
Which is good.
I continued to add more and more creatures into the vivarium.
Caterpillar.
As I caught them, I found this cute caterpillar and released it into Pandora. It slinked around and explored the vast lands. Have a look.
Caterpillars are cool.
Oh my! Now where are we? It thought in plural, as it waved its head around at the smell of new plants it could chew up. Not sure if this caterpillar would survive Pandora, but we'll see.
Hopefully.
It eventually took a nap, high up in the vines.
It would be cool to turn
I also
into a
released
butterfly
some fruit
or a
flies,
moth.
a mating pair of houseflies, and more grasshoppers. My plan was to continue building on Pandora's fauna profile, like this, until prey insects were surviving enough to actually breed within the vivarium. It would take some time, but I knew we'd eventually get there. My eyes then moved over to the other side of Pandora, where I caught sight of Lady Katie, our brown-leafed katydid, which I recently discovered is actually a type of bush cricket. It was funny to see her out and about at this time of the day, because
So
usually
bush
she's hidden
cricket.
behind the moss wall where she sleeps, until nighttime when she wakes. But here she was, out in broad daylight. I wondered why. Little did I know, I would soon find out that she had been unwillingly awoken and forced to leave her bed of mosses, and that the reason was moving in the bush cricket's bushes. Oh, well there you are. I didn't expect you to be all the way up there. It was our apex predator, and I caught it, peeking out its head to spy on me. Do you see it? It's okay, my friend. I won't hurt you. I don't even think it knew I could see it. But now that I knew where it was hanging out, I knew exactly what to do to make it feel more at home and come out into the light. Suddenly the rains blew through, and it retreated back deeper into the bush. Now was my chance to make an important key move. Back at the huntsman holding container, something totally crazy had occurred. The spiders had come in contact with each other, and it seemed as though Kiro had killed Lady Deathstrike. He stood above her body and looked as though he was now feeding. This was not what he was supposed to do, and not part of the grand plan. But turns out, we may have underestimated Kiro's competence to successfully execute this ultimate purpose. Look, Lady Deathstrike was still eating, and Kiro's fangs were not sunken into her back like it first appeared. Lady Deathstrike was alive. In fact, Kiro was doing something much more important than eating. He massaged his pedipalpi and was hyper-focused at the task at hand.
This is how spiders mate.
Were mating. And if you've never seen spiders mate before, prepare to be utterly mind-blown. I'm glad the roaches I provided Lady Deathstrike had successfully gotten Kiro safely to this stage of the breeding process, as many males at this point fall victim to their females before even getting here. She was properly distracted now. Now check out the incredible mechanics of huntsman spider reproduction, like you've never seen it before. See this organ? This is the male's embolus. Only male spiders have them at the end of each of their two pedipalpi, and they carry his sperm. When he was ready, he reached around, and his embolus would inflate like a balloon full of his little soldiers, which he would deposit into her genital openings using a sharp spur, which retracts once deposited. Then, he proceeds to massage the embolus. When ready, he switched over to the other side and repeats the process on the other genital opening of the female.
That's weird.
And once done, proceeds again to massage his pedipalp. Most people have never seen spider mating mechanics with such clarity, and if that's you, well, you learn something new every day, right? Kiro continued to do this back and forth, massaging his pedipalpi between sides, as she continued to feed on her roaches. The ultimate plan had worked so far, but little did Kiro know, his true and ultimate fate had yet to be fulfilled the moment she finished her meal. His energy was 100% invested now in the passing on of his genes, until he would no longer be able to move.
That huntsman
The breeding process would continue for the next hour and a half before Kiro's ultimate and final destiny would be fulfilled. I had to...
Okay, so the thing about spiders, I've never seen them mate. I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all haven't either. Well, there you go. That's how huntsman spiders mate. Not all spiders mate the same way. A lot of them do, but not exactly the same. But that's a huntsman spider, so that's how they mate. It's so like weird. It really is. It's weird. You're so used to seeing animals humping on the street and whatnot, like dogs and whatnot, but like when you see insects, it's just different and weird. It really is.
Move the UV and heat lamp slightly towards the bushes, because this was where he was probably choosing to bask and also hide.
Okay.
So, in order that he didn't have to travel too far from his hideout, I moved the UV and heat lamp a bit closer to the moss wall. Not directly over it so that it would burn the plants, but just near enough. If all goes well, our predator will emerge to bask. Now, as I was fixing the lights, I glanced at the banyan vines of the canopy, which we recently learned were alive, sending out air roots and leaf buds.
That's
the
interesting.
vines were actually shifting position now and detaching at certain parts, like an ultra slow-mo moving creature with a mind of its own. But being up in the canopy, I noticed something truly spectacular.
What is
Have a
it?
look. Ants.
Oh.
But these ants were not marauder ants, nor were they black crazy ants, nor were they the dwarf ants we spotted in a previous episode, and not the first giant trapjaw ants either. These were acrobat ants from the genus Chromatogaster. How were Chromatogaster in here too? My only guess was that they were transported into the tank through the vines. And sure enough, looking back at previous episodes of ants running on the vines, I failed to realize that they had been here since day one. How insane that a sixth species of ant was actually residing in Pandora. And even more amazing, since the vines were collected from my neighborhood, these acrobat ants were likely the possibly undescribed species we may have actually been the first in the world to discover, the results of which we are still awaiting. How cool, right? If this is a new species of ant, let's call them Chromatogaster pandori. Anyway, just 10 minutes later, after moving the lights around, behold, there he was, our golden dragon, emerging to bask. Isn't he cute? He's a sunskink, the same sunskink from part 2 of the series, collected from the forest edge in my yard. Isn't he stunning? And my, has he grown. A fly came whizzing by, and he attempted to catch it, but it left before he could strike. What an avid hunter he was. Pandora's current apex predator. The ants traveling the vines didn't bother him, as there was no penetrating those tough dragon scales. When I tried to get a closer look at him, he disappeared back into the bushes. He was still a bit shy, but little did I know, we would soon be making an official deal together, which would make all the difference in the world. By late afternoon, I caught sight of our golden dragon's sidekick. See her? It was our resident house gecko. Out early to begin hunting, she had lived here now for about a week, and was also looking pretty fat. Looks like she had eaten a good amount of prey insects. I was happy to know our gecko was doing well, unlike the gecko before her. House geckos are usually very hardy little buggers. I catch them running around my home. And speaking of which, some of you guys may be wondering, where in tropical Canada is my home, that I'm able to catch all these lizards and such? Well, I was born and raised in Toronto, but moved out to tropical Southeast Asia 12 years ago, where I ended up staying. And by then, Antscanada.com had already been trademarked, and the channel already established. So I kept the name Antscanada. No matter where I'm based, I'm still Canadian. Eh? It had been 2 hours since the spiders had begun to mate, and I came back to the holding container, to a shocking sight. This time, Lady Deathstrike was on top, and sadly, Kiro's ultimate fate had been sealed. Lady Deathstrike had finished her roaches, now a crumpled ball at the bottom of the tank, and was feasting on Kiro. I was a bit traumatized at the sight of watching Lady Deathstrike consuming her former lover. But inside I knew this was all part of huntsman life. Kiro had spent every last bit of energy he had left to breed with Lady Deathstrike, and at the end was pretty much unable to move or defend himself. Female huntsman spiders, like in many spider species, eat the males after mating. In doing so, it further provides the female extra nourishment for the difficult and demanding upcoming task of producing her egg sac, during which time she will be 100% focused on laying eggs and nothing much else. After Kiro had given up his genes during the mating process, he went on to give up his very life in order to nourish his lover and provide her the best chances for the bringing of their future children into existence. Though my human mind couldn't readily swallow all this, I knew inside that this was the honorable huntsman way, and how it's been for them for millions of years. Lady Deathstrike began to wrap Kiro in more silk. She was soon going to be ready to be relocated to her next very special location.
Spiders are similar to that of praying mantises. The female mantis eats the male mantis during mating, and then it spends a lot of energy doing the egg sac. There's a lot of insects that are like that, actually. Very dangerous. But there are times where the male eats the female and doesn't mate with them, which is crazy. But that's the insect world.
I marveled at the beauty of Pandora at night as the mists blew through.
It's always
Pandora
cool at
truly
night.
transforms every time night falls.
Yep.
It's almost ethereal. Have a look.
Ethereal. Let the light shine in the darkness.
The full moon was out, and so were all of Pandora's awesome nighttime creatures.
Okay. Hey.
Lady Katie was out looking for vegetation to feed on.
Okay.
Isopods were emerging to forage the forest floor for decayed leaves and organic matter, and all the roaches were now out to play. The emergence of all the prey animals was a literal feast for our gecko, who scaled upside down along the canopy, hunting for insects. I truly loved watching her hunt, and couldn't wait to add more house geckos to join her, as these lizards usually live in social groups, often seen hunting together. It was then that I spotted a trail of black crazy ants, hot in action. They excitedly raced along the back of the Hallelujah tree stump. What were these black crazy ants up to? I followed their trail and noticed they were moving to and from a central hole in the stump. How peculiar. They initially moved into the top of the stump last week, but were now seen emerging from the center of it. It must be quite the labyrinth inside that stump, and it was a bit concerning to know that I couldn't actually see what was going on inside it. For all I knew, there was a giant ant war happening within it, and that's why I hadn't seen the marauders much in several days. There was also a colony of termites living in there, as well as who knows what else. It was also quite eye-opening to me to know how many species of animals can actually pack into a given space out in nature. I had no evidence to believe yet that the black crazy ants were a danger to our marauders, but little did I know I would soon find out about the whereabouts of our marauders, as well as lay my eyes on something totally horrifying in Pandora the next morning. The next morning, I stumbled upon the most horrific death.
What happened?
An earthworm!
An earthworm.
It had been split in half and was dying now. The other half was here. It looks like something had ripped it apart and left it to die. Ugh, yuck. I hate worms. And seeing a dead one split in half wasn't any better. I bet our sunskink did this and decided to ditch the worm after killing it. Anyway, the soil creatures, or maybe the flies, will lay their maggots onto it. So I left it there. In terms of the other earthworms placed into Pandora, I could see evidence of them doing well. Their casts form mounds atop the soils, which were excellent fertilizer for Pandora's plants.
Okay.
I looked up to the bushes, and there was our golden dragon, basking again in the morning light.
Skink.
As I attempted to get closer to it,
Skink.
it decided, nope, I'm leaving, and it disappeared into the bushes. Just when I thought I had spoiled my chances, an idea came to me, and I pretended to walk away slowly. I waited on the other end of the room for it to come out, and sure enough, after 15 minutes, our dragon's head peeked out. Now was my chance. Instead of just walking up to the glass like I normally did, I moved slowly, watching the lizard's body language, preparing myself to stop at the slightest sign of fear. To my surprise, I got pretty close without it disappearing back into the bushes. Beloved golden dragon, welcome to Pandora. I am Antscanada, your creator of worlds, and I mean you no harm. To my surprise, the lizard looked as though it was listening. Out there, you have to worry about cobras, pythons, egrets, and monitor lizards, and your next meal is never guaranteed. But here in these lands, I can promise you safety, where no creature in this rainforest will be able to eat you. You will remain the apex beast of these lands for as long as you show me signs that you're thriving in this kingdom I've made for you. For I acknowledge that you are not my pet, but a partner, to help me learn about the incredible world from which you come. So, feast on all the insects you like, drink from the freshest of waters, and bask in your favorite spot, undisturbed. I am your friend. Bye, my cute lizard. I was surprised to see that he was more relaxed now, and at that, I began to back away slowly to show him that I was not a predator to eat him. Amazing.
What's funny about that is that most likely the lizard is like, what the hell is that? And probably can't hear him through that glass. Huh? What is that thing doing? What's going on? I just want to stay here, eat my food, and leave me alone. Leave me alone. It's probably what the lizard is saying. The sun skink.
In the following days, I spotted him out a lot more. He was still very discreet and tried to move unseen, but I was able to catch him foraging the rainforest floor, as well as attempting to take on some of the larger prey insects, like our slant-faced grasshopper. Watch him. Bam! And into the shadows of the driftwood. Hilariously though, I spotted the slant-faced grasshopper later that day, chilling on its favorite philodendron leaf, which meant our sunskink probably let it go when he realized it was way too big for him to swallow. As time went on, I continued to improve Pandora by adding new mosses, planting new plants, sowing new seeds, and adding more prey creatures and other fauna, like this gorgeous rhino beetle. I'll have to add pieces of fruit for him and the fruit flies, as a periodic ecosystem event talked about in part 3. But while he is alive, he'll be great at digging new burrows every morning, which can be used as hiding spots and homes for other creatures. I even managed to catch another house gecko from my kitchen and released it into Pandora. It immediately hopped in. I watched her flick off a few curious black crazy ants, which I'm sure she's used to, especially these annoying ones, which share her niche. She then dashed away to begin exploring her new kingdom, which was big. Oh, so big. And it smelled like prey was everywhere. She will eventually run into the other house gecko and may even try to mate with her, as these parthenogenic lizards do. And this would stimulate one or both house geckos to produce eggs. Hope it won't be long before we start seeing baby geckos running around. I'll keep my eye out for the egg clutches. And about the ants, to my delight, the marauder ants were seen beginning to emerge again from their regular place in the Hallelujah tree stump. And even the top of the stump, strangely. Okay, not sure what's going on, but guess the colonies within are moving around in the stump's inner labyrinth. I'll continue to keep an eye on the ants for any signs of an ant war happening. Especially because now we've discovered yet another species of ant in the Pandoran mix. For those of you wondering about the whereabouts of the invasive fire ants from part 5, I suspect they're underground still and alive, because I noticed one of their mounds had an open entrance. And trust me, I've been checking that entrance every day for fire ant foragers emerging. I
could imagine.
But have not seen any. I'll keep you all posted. I hope they don't have a queen. And as for the giant trapjaw ant queen from the last episode, I checked up on her. And she's still alive and caring for her young, probably capturing some baby crickets to feed them. It had been another insane week in Pandora.
Wow.
And now that we had our apex predator patrolling the ground by day, and our house geckos hunting in the canopy at night, I felt our rainforest ecosystem on land was much more complete now. But AC family, there was still a part of Pandora that was lacking. Now that Pandora's land portion was populated with life, the underground cave water system at the foot of the springs was still pretty lifeless. Aside from this, the waters were a death trap for insects like crickets, and I needed creatures to feed on their bodies so they wouldn't completely foul up the waters, which brought hydration to many ants and creatures. Now, I had allowed for the filter of these waters within the rocks to cycle and build up its necessary bacteria over the past several weeks to be able to support the aquatic animals I had in mind to live within these waters. And AC family, the time had come to finally populate Pandora's amazing aquatic world with life as well. This was gonna be fun. Lady Deathstrike, my beloved Lady Deathstrike, you've done well. You're ready now to be transported to your new resting place.
Not there yet.
Welcome to your new home of Pandora. up in the skies for now, where it's warmer for you, so you can lay your eggs. I have big plans for your future within Pandora. Rest well. Your greatest moments are yet to come.
This guy, man.
Vote in my community tab to affect this story.
Okay.
Hope you can subscribe to the channel as we upload every Saturday at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe if you enjoyed this video to help us keep making more. It's Ant Love, forever.
Alright, that was a fun episode. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm gonna leave it with outro Ravage. Alright guys, that was Antscanada putting a predator inside the vivarium. I hope you guys enjoyed that. It's very good to watch these kind of videos because these kind of videos helps us learn more about nature and the animals and whatnot. Because I've seen a lot of people who are misinformed by Hollywood about these animals. You know, like the famous one, the lion roar and Lion King is actually a tiger's roar. That kind of stuff. But yeah, it's good to learn about these things, and I like watching this because I learn more about insects and animals that he puts in that vivarium. And I hope you guys learn about it, learn from it too. So with that, if you want to see the original video, is going to be in the description below. For those of you on Rumble, you can check it out on YouTube. It's on YouTube. Alright, so with that, I hope you guys ravage that like button, ravage that subscribe button, and also hit that notification bell. That way you know when the next episode, you get notified when the next episode is uploaded. Also, this t-shirt is going to be on my fourth wall shop. I'm going to put the link to the shop in the description below, so you guys can check out the t-shirt. I was saying it before, if you are used to wearing a medium, get a large. If you're used to wearing a large, get an X large. If you're used to wearing an X large, get a double XL. That's how these shirts fit. Alright, so with that, I hope you guys enjoy your day, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace out, everybody.